Good morning. My name is Ahmad Aiden. My metric number is 073414. Today I will be presenting the research on the impacts and challenges of US-China Trade Wars 2.0. The purpose of this study is to provide a comprehensive analysis of three critical aspects. First, the underlying factors that led to the emergence of the second phase of the trade tensions. Second, the vital role of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, or UCTW, in maintaining international economic stability. And third, the significant impacts of the Trump trade war following Trump's re-election in 2024. This research is particularly timely given that Donald Trump's re-election in 2024 with 76.9 million votes has reignited US-China trade tensions. His return has signaled a possible revival of his previous trade policies, which imposed tariffs on over $319 billion worth of Chinese goods, creating substantial impacts on global supply chains, economies, and international economic stability. US-China trade tensions have escalated significantly since 2018, with both nations imposing retaliatory tariff on billions of dollars worth of goods. This trade wars create substantial impacts on global supply chains, economies, and international economic stability through protectionist policies. These conflicts have evolved beyond traditional trade disputes to include complex issues of technology transfer, intellectual property rights, and national security concerns. When the two world's two largest economies engage in trade wars, it creates widespread ripple effects across international markets and disrupts established trade relationships. Despite the magnitude of these economic conflicts, limited academic analysis exists of second-generation trade war policies and their long-term consequences for global economic stability. This gap in research makes our study particularly relevant. On the research methodology, the study adopts a qualitative research design using content analysis and case study methods. I primarily relied on secondary sources such as economic journals, books, theses, and online databases, including GSTOR, Google Scholar, and Freefull PDF. This approach allows for in-depth examination of Malaysia's hedging strategy using a variety of credible materials. The qualitative method was preferred for its ability to explore complex political phenomena through careful understanding and conceptual synthesis. Literature reviews and expert theories provide a strong theoretical framework to support interpretation, making this approach ideal for real-world political analysis requiring nuanced understanding. On the literature review and theoretical framework, my research draws on several case studies. Kapustina and colleagues in 2020 concluded that trade wars hinder global production and hurt both nations' businesses. Klaus and Jakubowski found that tariffs reduce imports and enhance American industrial competitiveness, while Martin in 2023 discovered that tariffs reduced Chinese imports by 13%, but increased costs for the United States businesses. From an economic perspective, Bulma in 2022 argued that trade wars shaped public opinion by framing trade as a security issue, creating a Cold War-like narrative that shifted American support from economic gains to national protection or nationalism. This study is grounded in two main theoretical frameworks. First, the hegemonic stability theory, which suggests that international economic and political stability is most effectively maintained when one's dominant power leads to the global system. However, when this dominant power weakens or retreats from its leadership role, rival powers begin to exert themselves, leading to economic conflict and disruptions in global cooperation. Second, the power transition theory focuses on rivalry between a declining hegemon and a rising challenger. As a new power strengthens economically and politically, the existing order is threatened. The dominant power often adopts protectionist policies to preserve its status, while trade wars can be seen as a strategic move to counter the rise of competing power and maintain global leadership. For the research findings and analysis, based on my analysis, I have identified several key factors that cause the emergence of trade wars 2.0. First, the re-election of Donald Trump in 2024 reignited the US-China trade war marked by sweeping tariff and heightened economic nationalism. Beginning in 2018, the conflict escalated through multiple rounds of mutual tariff on goods, semiconductors, and technology. Second, Trump's America's First policy fully honored unilateral trade measures, large duties on Chinese goods, such as up to 25% tariff, demonstrated his administration's commitment to aggressive unilateralism, threatening increased protectionism in global trade. Third, there are strategy industry concerns. Trump's policy often target technology-sensitive sectors like semiconductors and electronics, raising concerns about technology transfers, intellectual property theft, and potential threats to American technological dominance. Regarding UCTW's role in ensuring international economic stability, my research shows that this organization has been particularly significant during Trump's second presidency. The research centers on the international economic system's resilience in responding to bilateral trade wars and their social effects, along with other unrelated policies from either Trump presidency. As for the impacts post-Trump 2.0, the research reveals several critical consequences. The policy impact provides critical insights into contemporary U.S.-China economic relations during Trump's second presidency. The study focused specifically on U.S.-China trade war during Trump's second term. While trade war impacts during Trump's occasionally referenced period remain on Trump's latest economic policies. The research centers on the international economic system and how trade conflicts affect global economic stability and strategic contributions. This understanding also helps explain how literature on modern trade conflicts and protectionist policies offers analysis of evolving dynamics between the two world's largest economies, significance, and implications. This research is significant for several reasons. It provides critical insights into contemporary U.S.-China economic relations during Trump's second presidency, filling important gaps in literature on modern trade conflicts and protectionist policies. The study offers valuable analysis of evolving dynamics between the two world's largest sub-economies. From a strategic understanding perspective, it informs policy discussions about bilateral trade relationships and their global implications, helping policymakers understand the broader consequences of trade wars on international economic stability and global supply chains. The research also examines how trade wars affect literature on international economic systems, social effects, and other unrelated policies from either of Trump presidencies that provide a comprehensive view of these complex relationships. In a conclusion, the US-China Trade Wars 2.0 represents a critical juncture in international economic relations. The election of Donald Trump has renewed these tensions with significant implications for a global economic stability. My research has demonstrated that these trade conflicts extend far beyond bilateral economic disputes, affecting international markets, supply chains, and the broader framework of global economic cooperation. So, understanding these dynamics is crucial for policymakers, businesses, and researchers as we navigate the complex economic landscape. Thank you for your intentions. I'm happy to answer any question. Thank you.